going on, guys? So today we're talking about the best selling cards in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. This is the regular Yu-Gi-Oh Market Watch. I'm still not used to it, as you can tell. Saying that. Pot of Prosperities. Out the gate. Like, subscribe, you guys know what to do. Out the gate. This feels cheap. Am I wrong? Okay, this one doesn't. But does it, though? 150 on a playset of original copies of Pot of Prosperity. But then we go to the Prismatic Secret Rares from the 10s. That's what we're talking about, right? That's what we like to see. You can get German versions. Ayo, what's this top des Wolf stands? I don't like foreign cards. Like, you actually cannot play cards of from the OCG, Japan, Korea, different things like that. But you can still play Italian cards and Spanish. I just don't. I don't like them. I have the Agent of Venus in Spanish, which is and Mystic Shine Balls in Spanish, which is a very simple text, like pay 500, summon a Mystic Shine Ball, and Mystic Shine Ball doesn't have an effect, but I still don't play them. It's just they're Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. Here we go. $43, we round up. 28. Playsets 129. Is that math right? Yeah, that math's right. See, here's my thing. I honestly, I know that these cards are different. I do. I totally understand excavating and getting to choose is different, but you gotta banish from your extra deck either way, right? So if you're gonna banish from your extra deck to add one card, and this card adds two cards, right? Now the cool thing about Pot of Prosperity, obviously, is that it doesn't have this effect. For the rest of the turn, you cannot draw cards. But Pot of Prosperity does have a negative. And I think, this negative, you can't draw cards here either. Right? But then it also, for the rest of this turn, any damage your opponent takes is halved. Right? Now, I know excavating and choosing is so much better, but I think that's why the card's not down in value. But it kind of is. The market price for Pot of Prosperity is still relatively high, but it went down. It went all the way down to $35. And that's this version of it too, obviously. And it's starting to go up, and then it got to here at the start of this month. And then it went back down, and now it's starting to kind of creep back up. It is sort of leveling out. So I guess you can't really say that it's going down in value because it is still the best potch card that's legal. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I love finding these where listings as low as or lower than the market price, and how much lower. Like, this is $1 lower. This is $2 lower. This is $1, 50 cents lower. This is $1 lower. This is $4 lower. That's where I like to see it. But even still, I still don't think Pot of Prosperity is worth it. You guys can get it if you want to. You guys go crazy. Spend your money how you feel. I always say it every market watch. I'm going to say it again. This is the stuff I wanted to look at. If you guys checked out the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch that I did earlier this week, I was talking about this archetype. Well, I was alluding to it. I forgot what it was called and how to say it. I was alluding to it, and I said I can't just know every archetype ever. But I know that this card is really, really solid, and is why Liberalmancer has randomly popped up for the first time really in the meta. Because it's got the Amazoness Swords Warrior, one of the two. It's got that effect where your opponent takes battle damage. And if you play Duel Links, you're aware, that kind of gets weird sometimes. In very simplified game states, that gets really weird, especially when the card says it can't be destroyed by battle. Right? Also, by the way, you can reveal it to add, which is just insane. Obviously, you have to discard. But then you can target an equip spell, equip it. So you can equip the spell back. It's a really, really good card, and a lot of the equip spells that this archetype has is really, really solid. But what I wonder and what I worry about with this deck, and I've talked about this sort of thing before, I feel like Dark World is in a similar spot. I don't even know if you can get what I'm looking for here unless it's this, which is the mixture of the two. Like Libromancer plus Mekonko. We are way too far down. Oh, I see where I was going. Right, so they're not here. And this might actually be good value to get a Libromancer deck for $200. But is it... I mean, it's not better than Tier, obviously. Just out the gate, it's not better than Tier. But the idea is, well, a new ban list could be coming and Tier might get neutered. And so maybe Libromancer will be very good. Maybe, if you want to play that game. But I think to run full power Libromancers, you probably need to run also the Mekonko stuff to some extent. And now we're talking about a $200, $300, maybe even $400 card, or the deck, excuse me. That's not really that great. Like, if I'm playing Tier 2, I'm playing budget. If I'm going to spend a lot of money, I'm playing Tier 1. If that makes sense. And right now, I think Floanderis is probably the best amount that the deck costs. Because literally Prosperities, which we were just talking about, is the most expensive card that Floanderis runs. And there's a deck that can really run Extravagance very well. I think they just run both. I haven't looked at a Floanderis deck profile in a while. Kashtira stuff isn't super expensive. You could play that game. I don't know when the... Does someone know when the new Kashtira stuff's coming out? Okay, I'll just Google it. I'll just Google it. Google always knows, right? Kashtira support release. Yep. See, this is what I anticipated Googling it, so I don't like to Google Yu-Gi-Oh! Related questions. I think it's coming out mid-February, though. So you can play that game where you go like, let me get a bunch of Kashtira stuff now, because it probably will go up in value soon, as we are just right here on Unicorn, actually. We might as well just open this up. Let me get a bunch of Kashtira stuff now. You do need Fenrir. Where is it though? You do need Fenrir. $70 card. You do need Unicorn. Do you need Unicorn at 3 though? If you control the best summon, you can add a spell. Yeah. Or if your opponent activates a monster effect. Yeah. You kind of need that at 3. But you can play that game where you get 3 of this card, or maybe you already had 3 of this card, so you just get 3 of this card for 75. 3 of this card for 210. Which that's just how much Fenrir is a $70 card, so that's what's gonna happen. And you can get these if you want to for like $5, $10. I mean, this is $3, so $9. Plus 75 is 86. Plus 10 is 96. Plus 200 is 296. Which for $300, you get this now, and then you just get the box where the new set's coming in, where the new support's coming in, and you just hope to pull it. You can play that game. It's obviously going to be a relatively expensive deck because it's good, and that's how Yu-Gi-Oh works. But it's still better than this. And they're going to be... I feel like they're going to be around the same price. I guess I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Not a lot of big changes here. I think we talked about this card before. Interesting. Interesting card. Where has this card been? What has this card been doing? Power of the Elements. It's kind of old, right? Like, not like old, old. I'm not talking like old, old. I'm not talking like um DD Crow, but like, yeah, this card is old though. Moray of Avarice, Power of Elements, and it's the only version, right? Yeah, cannot be normal summon, special spell, tributing all monsters. It's a little weird. It is a little weird. Steven. um, I don't know why it went up in value though. I understand like it's a good card, and it probably did get featured in a deck that this site didn't do an article about, and that's really nice. Yeah, look at that $20 card. It's a really good going second card. Um, a big boss. It's like a better version of Nibiru, but not really though, right? Um, I mean, it is kind of a better version of Raw Sphere Mode, but once again, not really though. Like, because of its condition, I don't really think this is a great buy. It's a good card. Like, I'm glad I finally found this card, because it's been out for a long time. I guess it's not that. Okay, so it's like 6 months old. That feels old sometimes, but it's not that old. Used to be an $8 card. You wish you'd have gotten it here. But this is the no. No. Don't fall to FOMO and like, oh my gosh, this card's so broken, and then you play it and you use it and you're in the middle of using it and you're like, yeah, this card's not as good as I thought it was. You just it's a very simple thought process, but my biggest thing is always like, I don't like playing cards that require my opponent to do things, because then my opponent can just screw me over and not do things. And I guess there's this idea of like, my opponent makes this crazy unbreakable board. I don't have the Dark Ruler, right? I activate everything in my hand. My opponent's got 6 monsters, all 6 monsters that have negations. They all use them. My opponent's got no cards in hand, no cards in field. It's got no like Necrogarda or whatever in the graveyard. In that game state, this being my 6th card that I drew for turn, I got rid of all the negations my opponent has. Alright? Or all my opponent's monsters use their negations. I tribute all of them off for 6 times 15, which is 9,000, and I attack for game. That, in that game state, that could be really good. Right? But in a lot of game states, people are running like 1 or 2, or sometimes like 3 or we'll say 3 or 4 different monsters that have negations. Like, that's their biggest board, is gonna be like 3 monsters with negations, right? Which is cool. This card can get pretty beefy because of it, but it can't attack for game, right? And to get those monsters to use those effects, you're gonna probably have to use at least a card per effect that gets negated, right? So if my opponent's got 3 cards with negations, I'm probably gonna have to use 3 cards, right? So that leaves me 2 other cards in this card. I tribute all my opponent's monsters and I use those 2 other cards. That could be big, right? It is a fire monster, so shout out to Salomon Great, right? You can use this to make Sunlight Wolf and Heatleo. But I don't think it's worth its new price point. I think it's worth its old price point of 10. I don't think it's worth its new price point of 20. If all that makes sense. There's so many archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, how many archetypes do you think there are? Is this archetype good? I'm not looking it up. I looked up a different archetype earlier today. I'm not looking up this archetype. Pearly. If you think Pearly is going to be the next Tier 0 deck, you should get this card for $15. Is it? Okay. I'll do this. I'll make sure it's spelled Pearl. I just noticed that it's spelled like that. Even get the collector's rare. Who cares? Really? It's not. This is the best selling card. The quick play spell. Oh, it's just this monster? Oh my god. I mean, you can summon it off 1 for 1. I don't know what its effect does, but and it's searchable off Where Art Thou. I'm not looking it up. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Is Pearly there? And there it is. That's what this was referring to. Is Pearly the next best deck of the format? Because I can't keep up with all of them. Okay. I can't know with like Gimmick Puppets and X Sabers and Altergeist and Paleozoic and Ultra Athletes and Ice Barriers and Dragon Link and Trick Stars. I can't know and Animancipators and Tier Elements and Sword Souls and Floanderies and Kashtira. I can't know what they all do. And Pearly. And the reason I understand it's a market watch, not like is the deck good or not, but in most cases, if a deck is good, the cards in said deck are also going to be good in value. Like Kashtira is a good archetype. Fenrir is a very expensive card. Could Pearly Pretty Memory end up being $70, the same price as Fenrir? I don't know, because I don't know what the card does. And I usually assume if I don't know what the card does, it's a bad card. Because I know what good cards do. I don't know what bad cards do. There are too many cards for me to know what all of them do. And if I'm gonna pick, I'm gonna pick good cards. So as far as I'm concerned, the Pearly archetype. Well, look, okay, I'll do this. If you've been really interested in someone talking about the Pearly archetype, I will humor you to an extent if I can find it. I don't even know if I can find it. Is this how you spell it? Did I spell it wrong? Okay, that's not it. This is it. 65 bucks. So for 65 bucks, but you only get one copy. So that's not very good. Oh, they have extra deck cards too. This is in German. What language is this? Okay. Does it say? Yeah. Okay, no. $210? No way, right? No way this deck is worth $200. No way. No way. I refuse to believe it. But hey, you spend your money how you feel like, and we move on. This card always finds its way, doesn't it? It always finds its way. These are the type of graphs you don't want to see. Because while you look at the graph and you go, okay, the trend would assume that it's about to go down. But then you also look at the graph and you go, right, but it used to be a $49, $50 card, and right now it is a $32 card. I will say this card is not really that great without this is not going to have a limited amount of. There's a lot of magicians. Is it Souls? Why am I having a tough time with this? I think it's Souls. Wait, did I spell it wrong? Okay. I have a new idea. It's a card that special summons a Dark Magician from graveyard, but also it can send something from hand to draw 2 cards. Magicians with the apostrophe in front of the S. That's what I did wrong. Okay, I was like, it's called Magician Souls, right? So if we look at just this package in general, this package is starting to become like a staple package. And I would assume that this version is the cheapest version at $23. Right. But you get a playset of this, $23. Probably can't get a playset for $23. You can get a playset for $25. So 75 bucks. And we scroll back on over here to our brother, Illusion of Chaos. I think they run 2 of this. So you might be able to get away with 2 of these. You get these 2 for 30 bucks. And maybe you don't even get a playset of Magician Souls, right? So you get 46. I think they do run 2 of these. So 46, because it was 25. That person was selling 24.72 at like 18, right? I don't know. You guys can go back in the video and check to see how much they were selling it for. But point that I'm trying to make, you can get 2 of those for 50, 2 of these for, let's say, 33, so 66. So for 166, you get an engine that consistently sees play. And here's the thing. You might be worried about reprints, right? Because this has yet to get a reprint. This is yet to, wow, it has yet to get a reprint. That's insane that that's yet to get a reprint. And then this has 2 other reprints. This used to be like a 60 some odd dollar card. Like this version, yeah, used to be like a 60 some odd dollar card. Now it's all the way to the 20s. I don't think it's going to get any lower, which means that it can only get higher. And if they do get reprints, like the Illusion of Chaos and Magician's Souls get reprints, I think they'll be common reprints. Or they'll be hard to pull reprints, and the cards will still be expensive. Like, there are just certain cards that have been able to maintain its value over the course of its entire existence. Like, Ash Blossom was like that for a while. Right now, it's actually not doing that, which is interesting. But I think even if we look at a card like Ash, there is still this version. The Maximum Crisis Secret Rare version is selling for $25. And a year ago, it was selling for about $100, right? That's a huge drop. But the thing is, I feel like this has already made that drop. This when it was a year ago, and Magician's Souls and Illusion of Chaos was really popular. This is where it was at, right? And now it looks like it might start to get utilized again, so it might go up in value. And it is a fun thing to mess around with if you build Dark Magician, right? And that's another thing that I really like about these 2 cards, is that it's a Dark Magician support. So at the very least, no. Will this always be 1 copy, $40 or what have you? Probably not. But since it's a very good card, that's number 1, and it synergizes well with another really good card, Magician's Souls, that's number 2, and it's a Dark Magician card, I don't really see it losing value. Ever. Like, maybe it'll go to 35, maybe it'll go to 30, maybe even go to 25, maybe even to 20, but I don't really ever see this card being stupid cheap. Like, there really are cards that are really old that are still really expensive. I don't know. It's risky. I don't ever really love recommending spending, what did we get to? What was it? $140, $150 on 4 cards. But that package has just consistently came up over and over and over and over and over again, to where at this point, I don't know. I don't really know if it's impervious to. At this point, it's starting to seem like it might be impervious to getting cheaper, if that makes sense. I kind of want to look at most of page 2. I got in a Twitter argument about this card. But the main thing I wanted to talk about here is Ash. You got to pick up Ashes right now. Now, I know it's possible that this card could get power crept soon, and this card has a bunch of reprints. Wherever you can, if you just get the structure deck and you want to mess around with Crystal Beast, if you randomly stumbled upon a bunch of Maximum Crisis or Shadows of Valhalla packs, if you could find these are really hard to find. These structure decks are really not the easiest to find. They might be cheap now though, because Ash is cheap. No, they're still not cheap. There's even with Ash being cheap, it's still not a cheap structure deck. I would get this card. I'm highly recommending this card. And the thing is, too, some of you guys might be here from the penny stock market watch. The penny stock version is a good buy as well. Like, all versions of Ash, buy. I cannot possibly say it enough. Like, look, I mean, they're all below their market price. And then the reason is, it doesn't work well against the best deck, and the best deck is also not running it, because they can't really mill Ash. But it's not going to be the best deck forever. So I'm just saying. But let me know what you guys think. What cards are you most interested in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Market world? Let me know in those comments down below. Make sure you guys click that like button, show your support for the channel. Subscribe for even more content. But most importantly of all, have a good day.